Good evening. Welcome to Equa TV, the Lifeline program on Equa TV Africa, which holds every Wednesday at 6 o'clock. Thank you for joining us this evening. This is a show that discusses legal matters, and today we'll have an interesting topic to discuss, as the political matters are concerned. Today we'll be having in by 6:30 the phone lines open, so you can call in to make your comments and contributions on the show. We actually lost a producer, a very talented one for that matter, Joyce Yoakwari on Equa TV Africa, and we appreciate viewers and the entire public who called in to condole with us at Equa TV. We are really grateful for your concerns and your calls. It's a source of comfort to us. May her soul rest in perfect peace, and may the Lord continue to comfort her family and the entire Equa community as a whole. Thank you very much. Today we will be discussing the topic, the Muslim ticket of the APC political party and the issues arising thereof. With me in the studio is Barrister Stephen Ahili, who will be discussing this topic together. You're welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, Vicky.
Yeah, thank you very much. The Muslim ticket, it's been an issue, and a lot of people have commented, a lot of people have condemned the actions of the APC for these actions they have taken at this point in time of our, national, national sphere and space, and there's been an outcry. Why the Muslim ticket? Why this time? When a lot is, needed to put the country together because of all that's happening. And so we will take some time to do justice to that topic. But before we discuss this issue, we'll be talking a bit on human rights, and we'll be discussing the human rights as relates to human dignity. So Barrister Ahili, what is human rights, and what is human dignity as it relates to human rights?
Thank you, Vicky. Human rights are the rights that are natural, that are God-given, that are also accepted by the society to be human rights. Majorly, they are God-given. It is not the making of a person.
Okay.
For instance, it's God that gives life, and He has given the right to life. So you have your life. Today we are talking about dignity of the human person.
Mm-hmm.
God, who created man, made a man in His own image.
Okay.
So you are dignified. And so that dignity shouldn't be taken away.
Okay.
But the second component I added, that also accepted by the society. Because if the society does not accept, you may not be enforceable. It is when the society accepts and codifies. Like, for instance, in the Nigerian Constitution is Chapter 4 of the Constitution that codifies and also make provision for enforcement.
Okay.
So it is when the society has accepted like that they become enforceable. But as per the origin, they actually originate from God.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. So, what will you say that this? What does this right entail? When you say right to dignity of human person, what does it entail?
Well, the right to dignity of the human person. Let me just read what the Constitution says about the right to dignity. Section 34 of the Constitution says, every individual is entitled to respect for the dignity of his person. And accordingly, no person shall be subjected to torture or inhuman or degrading treatment. And B, no person shall be held in slavery or servitude. And C, no person shall be required to perform forced or compulsory labor. So there are three components that are highlighted,
Okay.
particularly that people should not be subjected to torture or inhuman or degrading treatment. Then slavery or servitude,
Okay.
and then
Forced labor.
forced labor.
Yes.
Let me expatiate on this a bit.
Okay.
When you talk about torture or inhuman or degrading treatment, you see extreme cases of where the police torture suspects,
Okay.
even though they've been consistently saying that they do not torture and all. But when you go to court, every now and then you find that people come complaining of being tortured, and sometimes they show marks on their bodies to show that actually they have been tortured.
Okay.
And then the milder ones, you see, but it has become, the violation has become almost like a part of the society. You see soldiers moving about with horse whips. Not to whip horses, but to whip human beings along the way as they move. You see even messengers of traditional rulers going about in their cars with whips, horse whips, that they whip people they meet on the road. That is degrading and inhuman treatment. You find situations where, especially the forces, they make people for purportedly or allegedly violating traffic rules or misbehaving on the road. They make them to swim in mud, to swim in a pool of water on the road. Nothing can be as degrading as that. That a grown-up person went out driving and then he came back with his clothes soiled, and the children will be asking, "Daddy, what happened to you?" He was made to swim in a pool of water on the road by the military or the police. It's mostly the military that do those kind of things. These are degrading and inhuman treatment meted out to people. Then these issues of trafficking, child trafficking, women trafficking, and slavery. People are undergoing modern slavery. Sometimes this is not much from institutions of government, but criminals smuggle people out of the country with the promise to give them jobs, and they take them there and make them to undergo certain things that are not right. And sometimes people who are more privileged than others make others to undergo these kind of situations that are degrading. They are actually inhuman. There was a time that one guy was locked up in the barracks and was sleeping in water for 2 weeks in Jos. That is cold. They would take him out to go and work on site and bring him back to sleep in the water for 2 weeks. Thankfully, he didn't contract any ailment. But that was really an inhuman treatment. So these are the kind of things. And then the last issue is performance of forced labor. People are in some cases forced to do work that they are not supposed to do. But there are exceptions to this. Rule. The Constitution also lists the exceptions. Situations that are exceptions. Okay. And that the exceptions include where a court sentences a person, a citizen, to imprisonment with labor, then it cannot be said to be a violation of his right. He has gone through, he has been afforded fair hearing, he went through trial, he defended himself, and the court finally came to a conclusion of finding him guilty and being sentenced. And then the sentence includes forced labor. It cannot be said to be a violation. And then labor required for members of the armed forces. That cannot be said to be a violation.
Of their
It
rights.
also, yes, and another exception is where labor required for training or participation, national service or training. People who go for NYC sometimes do endurance trek,
Yes.
mountain climbing, and all these ones. Things that ordinarily they wouldn't want to do, but they don't have a choice. That is recognized, and it's not it's one of the exceptions
Okay.
to the violation of the right to human dignity. So it is not forced labor. Another exception also from the Constitution is communal service, communal efforts,
Okay.
where the community
Comes
agrees
together.
that we will do these efforts to help ourselves. Most times people say jokingly that communities have become local governments. They are constructing their roads, they are providing their electricity, they are
Clearing
providing
their bushes.
yes, their bushes and all of that. So when people have agreed that the community will do this, someone cannot be said is subjected to forced labor for participating in that kind of exercise.
Okay. Will you say that women are exposed or are vulnerable, more vulnerable to being to their rights to human dignity of being violated?
Yes, women are actually more vulnerable because even in the issues of trafficking, women are trafficked more for, as sex workers. Women are also subjected to rape. They are used as sex slaves and all those kind of things. These are degrading, these are a violation of their right to dignity of the human person.
Okay.
So the woman gender is more vulnerable and is more subjected, suffers these things the more. Like I said earlier, even the trafficking, women are trafficked the more than men.
Thank you very much. So what is the remedy for where the rights of a person has been breached, either by individual or by the government, or its agencies?
Yes, the Constitution provides the remedy. We discussed it here earlier, that a person whose right is, who is perceiving his right to be violated, is about to be violated, or is being violated, or has been violated, can approach a high court in that state. The provision of the Constitution is a high court. It could be the high court of the state, the high court of the Federal Capital Territory, or the Federal High Court.
Okay.
So, however, there have been arguments, even though the Supreme Court has interpreted it to be a high court and not a specific high court. There have been issues where people raise preliminary objections to the alleged violation of a citizen's right by an agency of the federal government being taken to a high court of a state. They say by section 251 of the Constitution, matters involving the federal government and agencies of the federal government are to go to the Federal High Court. But the provision of the Constitution is a high court of the state. However, for the avoidance of, avoidance of time wasting where they will raise objections which may succeed or may not, it is better that where the matters affect the federal government, you approach the federal or its agencies, you approach the Federal High Court. And where it is the state, you approach the State High Court.
Thank you very much. So we'll go on a short break. We'll be right back while we discuss the main topic of today, the Muslim ticket and the issues arising. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is the Lifeline, and today we're discussing the Muslim ticket and the matters and issues arising there too. So we know that there's been an outcry over the Muslim ticket, considered by the All Progressive Congress, the ruling party, and a lot of people have condemned the actions. A lot of people have considered it as very insensitive of the political party to do such a thing, and quite a number of people have protested, so there's a lot on this matter. So this evening we'll be doing trying to discuss this topic. And Barrister Ahile, let's begin. What is your take on the decision of the presidential candidate, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, to pick a Muslim, northern Muslim vice president as his running mate?
Well, I will say that decision is a wrong decision. He was cautioned in the build-up to making public his choice.
Okay.
People came out to say he should pick a northern Christian, a Christian from the north, to be his running mate, since he is from the south. And then, because he is a Muslim, he should pick a Christian. But he went ahead to do otherwise, and under the pretext that he is looking for, he's considering merit and not religion. And that is not only insensitive, but also insulting.
That's true.
The meaning of that is that in the entire of northern Nigeria, there's no competent Christian to be a running mate, to be a vice president. And then if there is no competent person to be a vice president, whereas we have people in the north who have been governors, who have been senators, then I don't know how he came to that conclusion. What parameter he used to declare all the northern Christians incompetent to be vice president. So that is it. And then secondly, it is insensitive, because when you look at the way we are going, the way the nation is heading, we have never been divided along religious lines than we are now.
That's true.
And so to bring inclusion, to make people have a sense of belonging, that we are all in this country. If a Muslim is president, a Christian should be vice. If a Christian is president, a Muslim should be vice. People have spoken about Abiola Kingibe. However, they forget very important things. The other day, MKO Abiola's daughter came on air talking about it and giving example of her father's time and all of that. She forgot that her father never became president, and so we cannot say what would have been. Secondly, I'm sure she also aware that in the lifetime of her father, he never witnessed a situation where armed bandits entered a church and killed over 40 worshippers in the western part of Nigeria, where they are from. But that has happened.
That's true.
So with these things now, it should make us be more circumspect and think of bringing an inclusion. But it also goes to show that the APC is heading somewhere. Historically, the Muslims have been trying to show that Nigeria is a Muslim country. Look at the architecture of the National Assembly. Is Islamic, the structure. That shouldn't be. Nigeria is not an Islamic state. It's a secular state. So it should not be sign of a cross or a crescent or the Islamic architectural design on the National Assembly. It is not right, but that's what has been done. And then now gradually you look at the appointment of service chiefs over time, and the army, the air force, the navy, all Muslims. It's the chief of defense staff that is nominal, that is a Christian. And so that is in violation of the Constitution, the federal character we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Because the federal character talks about the composition of the government of the country and its agencies to reflect the federal character and to give people a sense of inclusion. Not just tribes, but all sections. So that includes the faith.
That's true.
We have two dominant faiths, the Christian faith and the Muslim faith. So they should be given a sense of inclusion. But when he say we consider merit and not religion, why not do that in a positive sense? You are a Muslim. You don't consider religion, you consider merit. So you work with Christians. But if you say you don't consider religion, you consider merit, but you are still working with Muslims. Then it means it's a religion you are considering. You are only deceiving us.
That's very true. Going by, you mentioned section 2 of the chapter 2 of the 1999 Constitution. Will you say that the decision of the APC is unconstitutional? Will you classify it as an unconstitutional act? And what's the implication for Nigerians?
Well, yes, I will say it is unconstitutional by virtue of section 14, subsection 3 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended. That decision is unconstitutional because it does not take into cognizance the need to promote national unity and not make other people from a particular section to be dominant in government. So it does not take this section into account.
Consideration.
Yes, so it is in violation of the Constitution.
Okay, so what's the implication? Do you say can it be challenged? Can it be, because I think we will say this is novel because it has not, well, the Abiola situation was there, but that election never came to be. So, but this one is something we are looking forward to. Will you say it's something that can be tried in the courts?
Yes. Just today, a law firm in Abuja issued an ultimatum, 24-hour ultimatum. He wrote a pre-action notice to the national chairman of the APC, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, and they are saying that if the APC does not go back in its decision to have a Muslim ticket, they will challenge that in court. And they refer to section 224 of the Constitution. Ordinarily, the section of the Constitution, section 14, which is part of chapter 2,
yes,
is regarded as directive, and it has been held not to be justiciable. Okay. That's that you cannot go to court to enforce
the rights that
yes,
are provided for
yes,
in that chapter.
However, there are authorities, as the law firm in the ultimatum mentioned, that there are exceptions, and one of the exceptions is that, as contained in the cases of Okoye and others versus Ezechukwu and others, which is a Court of Appeal decision, and the Supreme Court decision of Center for Oil Pollution Watch and NNPC, where another provision of the Constitution, another section of the Constitution upholds a provision in chapter 2, then that provision becomes justiciable.
Okay.
And section 224 of the Constitution reads thus: The program, as well as the aims and objectives of political party, shall conform with the provisions of Section 2, Chapter 2 of this Constitution. So, the parties are mandated that their programs, their actions, their activities should conform with Chapter 2 of the Constitution. And that chapter provides for
federal character.
It provides for inclusion. Let me read particularly Section 14, subsection 3. The composition of the government of the Federation or any of its agencies and the conduct of its affairs shall be carried out in such a manner as to reflect the federal character of Nigeria and the need to promote national unity and also to command national loyalty, thereby ensuring that there shall be no predominance of persons from a few states or from a few ethnic or other sectional groups in the government or in any of its agencies. So the need to avoid predominance of people from a few ethnic or other sectional groups. Other sectional groups include religious groups.
Yes.
So not to make them have predominance over others. The Constitution discourages that. And then Section 224 is talking about the conduct of the activities of political party. The choice of a presidential candidate and running mate is an activity of the political party. And it must be done in such a way that no section will have predominance over others. And so, based on that, in my own opinion, this can be challenged. But to my mind, there is no point challenging. Even this issue should not so much be a matter of public commentary. The APC wants to divide Nigeria. For those who want to follow them, they will follow them. Those who don't want to follow them, they will not vote them. They want to have Muslim predominance. For those who want to promote Muslim predominance, they will vote for APC. For those who do not want, they will find other alternatives. There are several other candidates. The PDP is there. Labour has come with Peter Obi, which has become a movement. And many people are becoming obedient. From APC, from PDP, from ABGA, many people are becoming obedient.
So, thank you very much. We'll go on a short break. We'll come back and please stay tuned and join us in the discuss. Thank you for joining us. We've been discussing the Muslim tickets and the matters and issues arising from it. The phone lines will be open now, so you can call in to make your comments, make your contributions and ask your questions while the show is on. Barrister Ahili, what do you think is the implication of the decision of the APC on the party itself? We've had a lot of, good standing members, long-time members of APC leaving the party. And, and they are not hiding the reasons why they are leaving. They are categorically stating the fact that because the Muslim ticket was picked and people are leaving, even their party members are also learned of the fact that, you know, some parts of the members of the party today protested, you know, the Muslim ticket, and saying that this is insensitive to the Christian faith. You know, so what do you think is the implication for the political party itself?
Well, the decision is almost like a suicide mission, but they seem to be adamant, and that is showing that perhaps they have something in the offing more than the eyes could see. Or else, politics, democracy is a game of numbers.
That's true.
Where you have your members that have been there and they could say, in all honesty, we cannot continue because of this reason, and they left the party, and you are adamant. Many members gathered together and issued a communique in the name of Christian leaders in the north.
Yes.
Issued a communique that, in all honesty, they didn't say they are going to leave the party, but they said they cannot, in all honesty, sell this Muslim ticket in their villages. They still remain adamant. A serving senator came out to say, I cannot continue. They remain adamant. Then clearly they are telling us that they have something that we cannot see. They have a way of winning the election that we cannot see. Ordinarily, this action will be a suicide mission. If you are taking an action that your members are going away, but you still remain adamant. That was even before the candidate was officially
Unveiled.
Presented.
Yes.
Yeah.
Today was the unveiling.
Yes.
Of,
they had
Shantima.
fixed the date earlier. It was postponed. They went on. In fact, before the deadline for substitution of candidates, people were talking about it. They remained adamant until the deadline has passed, and so now it's like flogging a dead horse. Nothing is going to change in it. But that is a decision they have taken. Ordinarily, it would have been a suicide decision. However, perhaps they have something more than the eyes can see.
Okay, so what will you say is the way forward for Nigerians now, or even the members of the APC or the general populace, because it's not based on INEC calendar and regulations. They cannot, you know, willfully change the vice presidential candidate now as a running mate, because whatever they have stated is final based on the calendar of INEC. So what will you say is the way that things can be changed now?
Well, I will say I'm not an advisor to APC, so I'm not in a position to advise them. But as a public commentator, I would say, well, Nigerians know what to do. If they think that it is good to divide Nigeria along religious lines, they will go ahead and choose who they want. But if they think that that is unfair, that is unjust, that is insensitive, that is insulting to the Christian faith, then they will also know what to do. As I said earlier, there are other options. So we could simply just speak out and say, no, this will not work. Ordinarily, so the APC should have been looking for a way to find a way of enticing Nigerians. Because contrary to what they see, their achievements so much. All of us are living here. We know what we are passing through, the insecurity, the economic hardship, and all. So what do you talk about that? Yesterday, somebody was talking about a farmer who harvested Irish potatoes and was saying the price is very bad. They are not even finding buyers. And then the farmer herself said, but what do you expect? They use Irish potatoes to fry chips. How, when people cannot afford vegetable oil to fry chips, why would they buy Irish potatoes?
That's true.
So that is the situation we have found ourselves. Prices of things in the market have almost doubled or tripled, and the income of people have not increased. So people are suffering so much. The APC should have been thinking, how can we do to entice Nigerians? But they are adamant and insensitive. So, like I said, it would have been a suicide mission, but perhaps they have a way they want to go about it that is not known to Nigerians. If it is just for votes, well, the Nigerians know what to do.
So, just going on that line, will you say they are thinking of the fact, they're taking the advantage of the fact that they are the political party in power, to still impose themselves on Nigerians?
Well, if INEC is doing its job, that may be a hard one. They just lost in Oshun last Saturday.
That's true.
And the governor, the incumbent governor, is talking about, I saw something in the news today that they are gathering about 50 lawyers to challenge. I said, that's very good. Our colleagues will get work to do. And of course, they'll be paid for. But if I were a governor and with all the resources of state at my disposal, with all the people I've appointed in positions, the people say, you cannot be our governor again. Or the people allowed somebody from outside to come and rig me out, then I will just go home and rest. I say, thank God for the 4 years that you gave me an opportunity.
That's true. So just to further ask, do you think this decision of the APC has... Okay. Hello?
Yes,
We have Abdullahi on the line. Abdullahi from Niger State. Hello. I can hear you. Hello, please can you put off your TV set so that you can speak to us?
Or turn up the volume.
Hello. Sorry, we lost that caller. I just wanted to ask, will you say that this decision has widened the gap, that the government is supposed to be breaching, especially along religious lines, where a lot of people are more will I say more agitated on issues of religion, more than ever before?
Yes, that is the truth. The government is not, because you cannot separate APC and the government. It's a government in power.
That's true.
By the way, the APC candidate is the national leader of the party. So they are widening the gap on religious lines. They are dividing the country along religious lines.
Okay.
More than they should be working towards uniting us and bringing us together.
Okay. So before we go, what will you say if you have the opportunity to advise? What will be your counsel? And what is the way forward? Because this is not going to be the last election we're going to have in Nigeria, as long as the country Nigeria is still in place. So what will be your advice going forward? And for other political parties, what do you think this portends for us as a nation?
Well, going forward, we have to know this and put it at the back of our minds and live in this consciousness that we are a secular country of Christians, Muslims, and atheists. We cannot do otherwise. We cannot send other people outside of this country, except if we want anarchy, we want violence. But we must know that if violence starts, of course, for us in Jos, we have seen it, we know its effects and all of that. So it doesn't do anybody any good. When it happens, even the perpetrators are victims in one way or the other. So we are continuing as a country. And if we must continue, we must do everything to discourage dividing the country along religious lines. When one goes to the hospital...
Okay, we have Abdullahi on the line. Please, can you speak up so that we can hear you?
Yes, sir. Okay, I'm speaking with...
Hello, you're not audible.
All these things are... Are you hearing me?
Sorry, your line is very dull. We can't hear you. Can you speak up a bit louder? Okay, sorry, we lost him again.
Yes, so as I was saying, we are a country of many religions, and we cannot send out other people on the basis of their religion. For us as Christians is to reach out to them, to preach the good news to them.
Yes.
And if they believe, they join us. If they don't believe, they remain there. But we love them, we keep praying for them.
Hello, we have a caller from Gombe. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, you can make your comments, please.
Yes. It start event with the APC leader, Muslim, start the country that I say they will change their mind so that they will use the food and not for that, so that the land from the victories of 1993 and for the other times that for cancelling of the results at the polls, like the time of Babangida is a lesson for us.
Hello?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We didn't get that very clear, but he was trying to say that he's not happy with the Muslim ticket, like the general outcry has been. So you can continue.
Yeah, so we are here as a people in Nigeria, and we must do that which we promote our unity. We promote inclusion to make us have a sense of belonging.
Yes.
Ordinarily, but you see, the political parties have rather been playing politics instead of politics. It's tricks they are playing with us. It was last year that the southern governor said power should move to the south.
Yes.
The northern governors came up to issue a communique and said that is unconstitutional. The power rotation is unconstitutional. They now came up with this. They did, even PDP, whose constitution makes provision for rotation, we're discussing south, they now came back to the north. Suddenly, the APC governors now praised shifting power to the south that they had said is unconstitutional. And to show that they are not looking at the interest, at our interest, but what their interest is. That day, they issued a communique arising from a meeting in Kaduna. Over 50 people were given mass burial in Kaduna, in southern Kaduna, who were victims of terrorist attacks. The northern governors did not as much as condemn the killings, which has become the response of government. People will be killed, government will just come out and condemn and say they are going to make sure the perpetrators are brought to book. And we have not seen even one perpetrator brought to book, and it has continued unabated. Now, apart from allowing insecurity to fester, they are now dividing us along religious lines. So since we have alternatives, it is good for us, if we love Nigeria, to tell APC this is wrong and stand by it. And that can be done by voting other parties, other political parties who have people who are not insulting people, but are rather working towards the good of the nation.
Interest of the nation. Thank you very much. Do you have just a final word before we go?
Well, my final words: get your PVC, unite Nigeria, vote for people who are not dividing Nigeria, for the peaceful coexistence of also in this blessed country God has given us.
Thank you very much. Thank you, callers. Those who called in, the line was a bit bad, but we appreciate your calls. We will be back here same time next week for another interesting topic. Like the advice of my colleague, get your PVC. The deadline is the end of July. So let's go out in mass, get our PVCs, and then we have a right to decide whether we want the Muslim ticket or we want a different political party and a change in the entirety of our country. Stay blessed. See you next week.